Jets, I hear them say it now.
White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. We got the Hard Knocks episode 4 recap coming right at you. Next week, I believe, is the finale. So we are counting down the days until Hard Knock ends and the NFL season begins. As always, before we get into the video, I'm your host, Joe Skirto, aka Turn Up the Jets. Please subscribe if you have not already. If you are new, welcome. And if you are not new, much appreciate the support and for tuning in once again. Like the video if you actually liked it. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Turn Up the Jets on both of those social media platforms. Let's get into it. The recap of Hard Knocks number 4. And I said it. They were 1 for 1. They were 2 for 2. They were 3 for 3. Absolutely. They are 4 for 4 now in these episodes. They have just been fantastic. Something to look forward to on a Tuesday night, and it did not disappoint. There's a lot going on. We obviously knew that Aaron Rodgers' debut against the Giants last Saturday was going to be the headliner, but a lot of us didn't know that Aaron Rodgers, he talked his shit. I'm going to get into that, but I'm going to start off with how the episode began, basically with the offense struggling, and you kind of saw a little bit of the frustration from Rodgers. He didn't take it out on anybody specifically, but a lot of F-bombs, mad about mistakes, drop passes, wrong routes, all of that stuff. And it starts with him going over to Garrett Wilson saying, "Hey, 17, step in my office." Whatever he said to Wilson, he reiterated it to the other receivers, to the linemen, to the tight ends, and then the offense started clicking. He was throwing darts to Wilson. It headlined that unbelievable Lazard touchdown when he scrambled to his right side and just flicked it in the corner of the end zone. I did not know that touchdown was after a debacle of bad offensive play. So it looked like everybody rallied around him. And instead of just like bitching everybody out to their faces, he kind of went in his corner. He cooled off. He went to his players and he said, "Let's get this together." And then they started clicking on all cylinders. So I definitely thought that was cool and how they overcame the struggles. And that was a good look of Rodgers. Maybe he is changing. Yes, he can flip out. Yes, he could hold players accountable. But what he did do is that he took, a time to go in his corner, cool off, and just then talk to the offense, communicate with the offense. And I think that's exactly what a new offense with a new quarterback has to do: communicate, overcome the struggles. They did that exactly. So I think that was a terrific way to start the episode, especially last week's episode. The headline was basically of Cobb talking about the offensive room, that he's going to snap one of these days, and he's not going to throw you the ball. And he did snap, but not at anyone specifically. And I think Rodgers also made that known. Of course, you're going to be frustrated when someone runs the wrong route, or when someone drops a catchable ball, or when someone jumps off sides on the offense. So, of course, that is going to be frustrating for Aaron Rodgers. So that's how the episode started off, and then it kind of got sad, right? Tanzel Smart, it does not look like he made the team. And we talked a lot about him last week in episode 3. They started going into the personal lives of the players, most notably Tanzel Smart and also Randall Cobb. We see both of their families once again in this episode. They must be really the only two guys that were willing to do this, but we saw more of Tanzel Smart. We saw him bring the entire defensive line room to his house or his apartment, whatever, his condo, a beautiful home regardless, with his baby, with his wife. He cooked his, I think it was a family recipe. They were making charcuterie boards. Solomon Thomas was making charcuterie boards. Smart actually had a shirt that said charcuterie board on it, and then it was like a charcuterie board plate. Epic. And just talking about how much, it means, the team means to him, football means to him. Obviously, we know going in that he did not make the 53-man roster initially. I'm hoping that he can crack a practice squad, slot. I've not heard anything yet. It's disappointing, He had a really good preseason. It was also tough to see him getting injured. During that game, he injured his shoulder. Just the emotions that his wife was feeling, he was feeling, because they both know, like, he cannot sit out. He's fighting for a roster spot. He knew that. And the trainer was the trainer or the coach was like, they knew that Smart was freaking out because, A, it hurts, but B, I need to be on the field. I need to make this team. And he did everything in his ability to make the team. I really hope they bring him back in the practice squad. He gets an opportunity at some point because he's a team guy and the players love him. And yeah, you might not be a Quinnen Williams or a JFM or Carl Lawson or Jermaine Johnson or guys like that, but certainly going to have an impact on the locker room aspect. Players like him. And it's good to have likable players in your locker room, whether they make an impact on the field or not. They're going to make an impact for the team. Scratch that. That was a tongue twister. For the team's, chemistry, rather. Let's use that word because I apparently cannot speak. But you always want a guy like that. So I'm really disappointed he didn't make the team. I get it for a business standpoint. I do feel like Saleh is the type of guy to bring him back. But just to see the way the team rallies around him, like when he made a big play the preseason, everyone's going crazy. Or when he got injured, everyone's trying to go up to him, making sure he's okay. You could see the respect on their faces when he goes back in. And he was clearly injured. He was clearly in pain. And he was still typically getting through his blocks. So that's a developing story. And I really wish we didn't know he was cut already because, as Jets fans, it's like that's sad. I mean, maybe other viewers didn't realize that he had been cut already earlier that day, but it definitely made that sting a little more. And I know Jets Twitter could definitely relate and agree with me that it did kind of suck, especially seeing like the inside of his personal life, his beautiful family. It's tough stuff. It really is. He's really trying to, continue his dream. He has grinded for 6-7 years of practice squad to 53-man. So trying to crack the 53-man week one was a big goal for him, but unfortunately fell short. Another guy who was also really liked was Jerome Cap, aka B Rabbit. Of course, his highlight was, singing the last rap battle in 8 Mile and for the Rookie Show, and he just took over headlines. They even had Eminem tweeting that video out, and Eminem loved it. And everybody loved it. He just turned into a, internet sensation overnight because of that terrific performance. We kind of knew. I think Tenzel Smart was more like he really had a shot to make the team. Jerome Cap, I feel like this is a Division II guy. It's a really good story, but a Division II guy. He said 4,300 people would show up to his games. He was way in the bottom of the depth chart for the receivers. They already had 2 really good undrafted free agent receivers in Brownlee and Gibson, who I'll get into in a moment. But of course, if you have not watched my video yesterday with the episode 7, they both did make the 53-man roster. So it was expected. But we did get to see a little more inside of Cap and saw his family reactions during the last game. And you can just see the emotion of what it meant to his family, what it meant to Cap of just really accomplishing this goal, even though it was, a little short of what he wanted. He wanted to crack the 53-man roster. Obviously, who wouldn't? But unfortunately, he wasn't able to. He was actually cut 24 hours after the game. That's a little tough. But of course, the Jets knew that they were going to cut him. I mean, again, a likable player, of course, became, even more likable when he performed that rap. But it's tough to see these guys, yes, it's a business. The best 53-man make it, but the journeys they come through, especially like a Cap who's a Division II guy. I mean, that is just an amazing story. He gets invited to the camp. He was really good in Division II. He has a couple catches in preseason, nothing too crazy, but has a moment like he did on Hard Knocks that he'll just never forget. it probably is the end of the road for him unless the Jets practice squad him. I don't think it's likely. They have so many guys. I think there's so many guys that they're going to release from their 90-man to 53-man is going to either get taken by another team, placed in a practice squad by the Jets. These guys are definitely going to be on rosters, whether it's practice squad or another 53-man. But I'm not really sure about Cap just because his story is so unique. He's a D2 guy. He kind of got that one chance. He did everything he could. You can see he worked hard. He loved it. He was up all night studying the playbook. He was, he stayed late after practice. He was the first guy in the morning. You just love the dedication. You could see how, grateful he really was to even have this opportunity and how it really was his dream. He got choked up a little in the interview. So just really cool stuff between him and Tenzel Smart. It's disappointing. The Jets did, the Hard Knocks did have that twist at the end, these last two episodes with those two Jets players. And even Cobb too, more personal, but obviously Cobb's making the 53-man roster. Heck, he might be the third starting receiver on the team. But just seeing, these are real people. So really, really cool stuff, but bittersweet as well. As both didn't make the team. Nathaniel Hackett became a popular star yesterday. He's just a goofball, and I think I love it. And I think, the players love it. He's just talking about all this random shit about that, whatever that hair thing was called. I forget. He wanted one when he was a kid. Again, back to the Gold Zone, loves Gold member, Austin Powers, epic movie. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. You got to check it out. All three of them are absolutely ridiculous. And it's hilarious that he loves that movie and he quotes that movie and he literally implements that movie into how he calls plays or how he looks at the game of football. So that's hilarious. That meeting with the entire offense, he was just rambling and, you can see players love him. And I think he's going to be okay. Yeah, of course, Rodgers there helps, but I think he's going to be good. Players are going to like him. Players are going to look up to him. Players are going to admire him. They think he's, this big goofball. And I think that's a sense of like normalcy for anybody. It's not this, crazy intense guy that's going to motherfuck you. He might if, you make a mistake, but I do think there's a happy medium in terms of a player coach. And I think really Hackett is that guy. And I think a lot of players are going to gel nicely with a guy like Hackett leading the way for the offensive side. And this was another guy who had success as an OC. You can say what you want that LaFleur called most of the plays, and he was really the red zone for Rodgers' MVP season still, though. He's involved in the meetings. He's still technically the offensive coordinator. He's still technically in the practices, in the meetings, leading the meetings technically as the offensive coordinator. As I doubt LaFleur was leading the offensive meetings as the head coach, even though he's calling the plays, but he's still the OC. Blake Bortles, he takes him to the AFC Championship game. The dude had success. I don't really care about last season. He's a head coach. It's a totally different job. It's a totally different responsibility between really being the CEO and managing offense, defense, special teams, and also trying to call the offensive plays with a quarterback who really wasn't all that good last year. It's a really tough position to be put in. And obviously when you're a rookie head coach, sometimes you're not meant to be a coach. There's a lot of coordinators that aren't good head coaches, but are really good coordinators. And I really hope that Hackett proves everyone that he's that type of guy. Maybe someday down the road he can get another crack at a head coaching job. Sadly, I doubt it, but hopefully he can give the Jets what they need, and that is a competent offensive coordinator. They haven't had that in a very long time. I think Chan Gailey was like the only. I mean, they had Schottenheimer back in 2010s, but Chan Gailey was like old too. So they really haven't had a guy like that had experience, but also kind of in his younger age. And it really looks like he relates to the players and Jets Twitter and just Twitter in general. Fell in love with Nathaniel Hackett just because of, he's a normal guy. He's just like a dad. So hopefully he can call some good plays for his offense. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how cool you are. You just got to be good at your job if the Jets want to do what people expect them to do and what they expect themselves to do. Brownlee and Gibson, yes. I didn't realize how close they were. I think they were roommates. It really didn't specify, but they were ping pong mates. They always played ping pong. They always competed. They always challenged each other, and they both made the team. Like, that's a really cool story. Like, two kind of schools that, especially a guy like Xavier Gibson out of SF Austin, obviously that's not really a big school. And then Brownlee was a 0-star recruit, and he ended up obviously transferring to Southern Miss at some point. He started 3 years, had a really good career there, but a 0-star recruit going into college. Just a really cool story for both of those guys and how they really became close. They challenged one another, and they really got the attention of the veteran receivers, especially a guy like Randall Cobb. Cobb admired a lot of what Gibson did because Gibson maybe reminded him of himself, I know Cobby was drafted, but just seeing a guy just trying to make his name, make his way onto the team, make a name for himself, really had a lot of impact returning the ball. And even every time he had the chance of, running around, getting a catch, doing anything with it that he can to make a play with his legs. And, both these guys are obviously really good football players. It's just how they're going to pan out in the NFL. I don't know. I think Brownlee's going to get more of a chance as a wide receiver. He's probably going to be the number 5 unless the Jets go here and shock us and trade for a receiver. As I mentioned, maybe a Darnell Mooney. I'm not sure if it's going to happen now because the 53-man rosters are finalized. But Brownlee would probably be the 5 guy. Gibson probably going to be more special teams because they're carrying 7 receivers. I don't love that. I don't know why you have to carry 7. I know they're trying to get more depth, but I don't know. What do I know? But it was definitely unique to see their relationship, and it seems like they both pushed each other to make the team. And you gotta love to see that type of relationship. Going into the game, The Sopranos, theme song, mimicking the intro with Saleh driving to MetLife, epic. As an Italian American, love it. Just super epic. That was awesome. A huge fan of The Sopranos. Probably one of my favorite, if not favorite, shows of all time. So I know everybody probably loved that who obviously gets the reference. If you have not seen Sopranos, my gosh, I feel so bad for you. I've seen it 3 times. But that was a really sick scene with Saleh driving through New Jersey to get to MetLife. And then of course, Aaron Rodgers versus Jihad Ward was the story that just broke the internet. Holy shit. A lot of Giants fans trying to defend Ward and they don't remember him. He beat him last year. And it shows him hitting him from their game in London. Dude, the guy's been on 6 teams in 6 years. Of course he doesn't know who the hell Jihad Ward is. I didn't even know who Jihad Ward was. Most Giants fans tweeting about it probably didn't even know who that guy was. Saying he didn't know who Rodgers was. It's bullshit. Why are you pushing him after the play? And why are you trying to talk shit to him? And then after even the touchdown, he pushed him after. Rodgers didn't really say anything. And then he went back at him. So screw that guy. I know it's going to be a lot of fun in week 8. Really, I hope someone absolutely lays that guy out. Rodgers got that dog in him, obviously, because he didn't give a shit. He went right in his face. That guy's a big mother, but he didn't really give a shit. So I love that stuff. It gets me pumped up. It was hilarious just, searching those names, Jihad Ward, and how all the Giants fans were defending him. Yeah, dude. I'm sure if, it was the other way around and when Eli was playing, and still was a good player, and one of these Jets players was 6 years in and been to 6 teams, but got a sack off of him last year that he should remember him sacking. Yeah, he would really know who he was. Yeah. Bullshit. Nobody knows who Jihad Ward is. He's been on 6 teams in 6 years. Hope for the best for him, but watch out week 8 because it's going to be fun. And I know Rodgers is going to bring his A game. So that, of course, broke the internet. And I know Jihad Ward blocked a lot of people, probably all these Jets fans talking smack. But yeah, you could see Rodgers is a competitor, man. And I kind of briefly mentioned it because they teased it, but when he was kind of screaming at, not screaming, but talking to Cobb, why the hell are you doing that? This is not 2014. This dude's a gamer and he's ready to hit the field and he's ready to start playing regular season games that matter. So there's not really much else I could do with break down that play, but it was just really cool to see that side of Rodgers. That pumps, that's got to pump you up. Like Rodgers was in his face. He don't care. That guy was huge. He does not care. And then that guy tried to say like he didn't know who Rodgers was. Like he was like, yeah, he tried to say, I don't know who you are. And he's like, bullshit. Like mic drop. Great stuff. Finale, I believe, is next Tuesday of Hard Knocks. Of course, that's game week. So really exciting stuff coming up for the New York Jets, coming up for the Jets fans, NFL fans. The NFL football is back. College football week 1 is actually this Saturday. So I know a lot of people will, including myself, will enjoy that and have their football fix. Of course, last week was week 0, but like this is when the big boys play. So I'm really excited to watch football all weekend. I believe it starts on tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. All those week 1 games will be aired for college football. And then the following Thursday, next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, the Chiefs kick off. They raise the banner against the Lions at Arrowhead. So we are getting very close. Also, tomorrow, the release of my AFC predictions, the East, the West, the South, and the North. Love it or hate it, right? Those are my predictions. Again, if you have not seen or, watched or whatever, my NFC predictions, that video was posted last Thursday. And also the standings by each standing team by team and record by record is also posted for a visual on my Instagram page. So you can go check that out if you have not already. But appreciate tuning in for Hard Knocks episode 4 recap. We got one more left to go. As always, Joe Skirto here. Please subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you actually liked it. Follow me on X and Instagram. I still got to get used to saying that, but I think I nailed it 2 for 2 today. Follow me on both of those social media platforms at Turn Up the Jets. All one word. Stay tuned for more videos about the New York Jets. See ya.
Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams.